Hello Guitar Woodshedders, back for another edition here. Today we are going to be back on the guitar and sorry I had to do that, and talk a little bit about phrasing. So basically my opinion of phrasing is this, is less notes chosen wisely and in cooler pattern. I don't even want to say patterns, because when you're improvising you shouldn't get sucked into too many licks and too many patterns, but I do want to stress that I think it's important to have a slew of licks and patterns to get you from one place to the next. How I approach phrasing is I kind of break it up into 16th note grids. So basically if you're on, some sort of vamp, so I kind of break it up into 1E into 2E into 3E into 4E into 1E into 2E into, when it's something that's more straight, I try to play more segmented. I don't do a lot of like any quick runs like that. I try to be more melodic with it. So if I'm on a groove like that, you'll notice how I did that at a little bit of call and response with yourself. So basically, you can see what I'm doing there is I'm calling and response with myself. I'm also breaking up the rhythmic aspect of my playing too, of my soloing. A lot of the times I find it to be pretty cool, way cooler to do stuff like this. Alright, cool. So let's just talk a little bit about, getting into that 16th note grid and maybe doing some exercises with your right hand to get you comfortable with that. The first thing that I would recommend is 1E into 2E into 3E into 4E into 1E into 2E into 3E into 4E into 1E into 2E. And this is good for, working on your speed and everything too, which is something I talked about in another blog. Is if you can get your right hand used to doing this, that's 50% of the equation, and you gotta get your left hand working with it too, right? But if you can ingrain that rhythmic sense into you, when playing, you can come up with some cool rhythmic ideas. And I think that's something that I would impart to everyone is the way that I approach soloing, the way that I approach phrasing is I don't try to be unorthodox, but I try to not sound like all my heroes, because eventually that stuff comes out in my playing, sure, all the time. But to sound like yourself, you really kind of have to, you gotta let go of that stuff. It's just kind of like the typical thing everyone talks about when you're in college and you learn music theory. You get through theory 1, theory 2, theory 3, theory 4, they say, alright, let's break the rules. Similar situation. But you're not really breaking any rules. You're just playing, right? And that's what we want to get to, the point where you get past all the theory, you get past all the sweat equity in learning your instrument and all that, and you get to a point where you're just playing. You're just playing for the tune. So for me, some of the stuff that I was, in this video before that I was playing, being kind of a little bit more segmented. Alright, so that's the tempo. So you can see, like, everything is in that. Alright, so when I'm playing, what I hear is in my head. Like, just try to get like a drum set going on in your head to kind of stick with that groove. And you can change it up. So okay, so don't always think like alright, so no constant, that's boring. That's super boring to me. It might come in handy if you're doing something. So, something like that might come in handy as a connecting tool, like when you want to connect to a different idea. If you're thinking about the solo as having an arc, a climax, just like a book would, and then resolution kind of thing. You want to kind of start that solo off and have minimal ideas if that's the tempo. So you want to think about a solo and your phrasing as, don't let loose from the get-go. Don't come out of the gate screaming, alright? If the song has a 4-bar solo and it's a rock tune, yes, come out of the gate screaming for those 4 bars, let loose, and then get back into whatever the chorus or the bridge or wherever you're going with the song. But with this, the way that I want to approach music and the way that I want to approach, and I'm saying I because this is personal preference, the way that I approach it is there is no wrong or right answer, but there is a right way to build and lyrically tell a story with a solo. And there's a ton of guitar players out there who do it fantastically, from the Foo Fighters to Larry Carlton. It doesn't matter, what style of music. You just need to be able to be lyrical and tell a story. So basically, phrasing is it's a preference thing. Listen to some horn players. I'm not a straight ahead jazz player, but I listen to a lot of that stuff to get ideas. If you have a friend who's a sax player, have them come over and trade 4s with them. trade licks, and you'll come up with a lot of really cool phrasing stuff. Because sax players have one of the coolest, I think, phrasing of all instruments, that are improvisationally based, capable instruments. So yeah, I would say, listen to horn players, kind of steal from some of that phrasing stuff. You'll get an idea of, like, you're talking about somebody like Maceo Parker or something like that, who, he's got a lot of that cool staccato stuff and a lot of that 16th note grid phrasing. I don't know, check it out, see what you guys think. That's phrasing in a nutshell, and it's a larger discussion that we can have, but it's good to get started somewhere, and I hope that gives you guys some ideas and something you can run with. Alright, see you next time. Pow!